Mm. Hello, Divine Feminine. I had some moments over the last couple days that some songs played around me, and it reminded me of some moments you caught me by surprise in the past. When I would hear a song repeat, one that was definitely, I mean, it was imaginable, but it was still unusual, and it would happen, and then you would say, send me a text with that song or a line from the lyric, and I'd be like, wow, that's incredible. I just heard that song, you know? And I didn't even tell you, I didn't even give you the details of how many times I had heard it or how I had been feeling when it happened. I feel like you knew. How could you not if you knew enough that when you heard it, you sent it to me? You knew. And this song, it just reminds me of you so much. And I like the line. I like the whole thing about it, talking about I went through the ups and downs and I learned my lessons, and this time I'm not leaving without you. Because there's just something about you and I. And feminine, I feel like that's the way I feel about you. And it's funny because so many parts of that song, I feel like I want to send that song to you and see if you've been hearing it too. Because it feels like something that if there was such a thing as this whole signs and sync sent and stuff, I feel like it's something that you would send me, maybe not even intentionally, but just in energy. It's just you. And it makes me think more about what I'm doing, letting myself be bound up by people who have any sort of thoughtfulness towards my future or my family or my life or anything. You just use and take. I hope that I get to a place one day where I can look at people like that, like you do, and know that they're still good too. But I'm still kind of having my ups and downs with it, feminine. There's been a number of things that I don't even know how to explain it. There's been things that I thought were betrayals, but then I found out were actually people helping me out, and only felt like betrayals because I was trusting the wrong people. And then I find out how they've betrayed me, and then it just feels like I betrayed myself and everybody who really cared. And I think right now I'm just practicing letting myself feel the way I feel. The way I feel about you, the way I feel about them, the way I feel about me. I'm just letting myself have it instead of feeling like I always got to feel different or be different. And you know what the funny thing is, feminine? I feel like I can only even do that because I know you exist. You can be a million miles away or right next to me, and I know that you're interested in everything about me. I know that you don't always like it when I'm in my low moods, but you're never going to go anywhere in terms of not loving me anymore just because I have some human moments. And then, there's just something about, I don't know, there's something about when people try to go after you and they threaten to leave you or take what you got, and yet there's at least one person out in the world who loves you and believes in you enough to even leave you alone in your mess without being a dick about it, like somebody who's like, yeah, I see you're in that mess over there, but you got this. Not that whole, you're a smart kid, you'll figure it out, but that, like, no, I know you. You always get back up. You always get where you're going. You always do it. And I have faith in you to do it. You don't need me to hold your hand because you got this. Like, there's such a difference in knowing that a person like that, a person like you, I mean, look at you. Look at everything that you're doing in good times and in bad. Look at you, Divine Feminine. I feel like I feel like all those times in the past that I spent trying to make you feel better about yourself because I couldn't understand how you didn't just feel like the most magnificent being in the world. Like, I feel like I don't even need to do that anymore. I still want to, but it's such a different thing to know that you feel good about you because you feel good about you, that you don't need anybody, including me, And yet somehow you still want me in your life. You cherish it. You're willing to even fight for it here and there. You still have your standards, of course, but as you said, a lady has rules and standards and such. You've inspired me, feminine. Self-respect. Embracing both my masculine and my feminine sides, but especially my masculine side, my divine masculine side. Getting my act together. Not letting everyone else dictate what I do or don't do or how I should feel. Making sure other people are responsible for their own emotions far more often than I have been. And taking responsibility for my emotions too. And for the emotions of those that I owe it to be responsible for their emotions. I appreciate you, Divine Feminine, teaching me about wholeness and inner peace and magic and fun. You know, I used to think that all your talk about fun and warmth and things like that, that it was just like some lack of life experience or something. And now I see that, no, you knew something that others didn't quite grasp, that they were trying to fill with like stuff and people. You knew that learning and growth and love, they're all mixed in with play. And we need that. I need that. I used to think it was just a distraction, and then I realized, looking back, I made more money, I was more proud of myself, I was happier when I was playing with you, in between all the other things that we would do. And it was just my mind, my crabby, crusty, curmudgeonly mind, trying to be, I guess, whatever I thought was what adults had wanted me to be all my life, what it meant to be an adult. And I realized a lot of that was bullshit. And I realized that you saw through that before most people would. And even when they do, I mean, you didn't take it in a way that they took it. You've alchemized. I feel like I finally understand what that word means a little bit. You've like alchemized anything that's come your way. It's like anytime anyone throws a brick at you, you use it to build another corner of your castle. And anytime someone throws lemons, you mix them in your drink. And if somebody throws a tomato, you mix it into your salad, you know, like, and, you know, when people actually give you stuff, you make good use of it. And I mean, you get input, but you're not beholden to what everybody else wants either. And people seem to love you for that. And I mean, I love you for that, but I don't know, I feel in some weird ways you've been and are being the example that I and a lot of people have lacked. And I don't know, I feel like in some ways, Divine Feminine, you've done some things to where I'm sitting here looking at my life going, you know what, if she could do all that by herself, and it feels a little arrogant in some ways, because I mean, I look at my messes and I feel like, who am I to think this way? But I feel like if somebody like you, Divine Feminine, could look at me and be like, hey, you better catch up to me, then I must be capable of it. And if I'm whatever this divine masculine thing is that you're talking about, then what am I doing with my life that you're already light years ahead of me and you still don't have like half the 3D stuff that I have just yet? But I look at your path and I'm like, but she'll have it in a minute. She'll have it in a minute. I've always seen it in you. And then I look at me and I'm like, what am I doing? I remember when we used to do almost everything together, whether it was business or family or friends, and it was fun. And we succeeded, and I can see clearly my own patterns with the people I held on to, the karmics, as you say, to where, I mean, it was fun up until I told them about it, and then they'd be jealous or envious or tell me not to trust it or do things like that. And then I'd go back into that, I want to say, fake adult version where I thought I had to be pessimistic and critical all the time. And like, I don't want to be that man anymore, you know? I don't want to be a victim. I don't want to be in a space where I'm constantly placating just so that people won't yell. And it doesn't even prevent it half the time. Like, And I definitely don't want to live in a world where you're not right next to me in it in some capacity. And I think what's more exciting is knowing that you're the type that will be by choice. It's I've tested it in every way, feminine. Sometimes in purpose and sometimes not. I have to admit to myself that I choose it as much as I say I don't. But like you've proven to me, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and health, for better and worse, at distance and closeness, over time, it's all there. And that you're never going to trap me. I think that's really what scares me more is I'm so used to people who trap you. I'm used to looking for the strings. I'm used to looking for the shackles. I'm used to being able to complain about that. I realize that I complain so much about the shackles of things, and like I don't want to anymore. It feels like it's such an old excuse, and like I look at what you're doing and what others of your caliber are doing, and I'm going, I feel different because I feel like even if I never achieved more, even if things got worse, that you'd still love me. You'd still believe in me the whole way. Like I could get like 3 steps into my grave and you'd still be like, no, you got this. I believe in you. Come on, keep going. Like you'd still be there going, do the next right thing. Little steps still count. Little steps are still steps. Come on, masculine, and I would do it too, even despite myself sometimes. I know I have my moments that sometimes I intentionally don't do the things simply because you think it's a good idea, but I realize those are part of my old page days, my old night days. I want to be that emperor. I want to be able to be that masculine that, walks up to you no matter what I got or I don't have, no matter what pirates or karmics are chasing me down, and be like, get in. We're going on some adventure. I don't know where. I don't know what it's going to be like, but this time I'm not leaving without you, and I know that you're not leaving without me, so we might as well just get in and go, you know? And I love knowing that that whether you would say yes or say no, your heart is always with me and mine is always with yours, and that there'll always be just enough mystery, and it's always of the pleasantly surprising kind. It's never the worst case scenarios of everybody else, because you're not a worst case scenario sort of person anymore. If you ever were, really. And that's what I pick for me, too. I'm going to try to learn the lesson that you provide an example of, that I'm going to choose it for me. I want to be the kind of man who could stand up and say that I live an honorable life, that I have good integrity. I want to be able to have the kind of integrity that I can walk around and say that that means something. Like even if I'm in a new city with no job, I ain't got nothing, that I could still say, but I got my integrity. That's the kind of masculine I want to be. For me, that's what I want. And I know that what you want is for me to discover what I really want and go for it. That's all you've ever really asked of me. It's been your only agenda. And so for right now, I'm just going to think about you and this song that keeps popping up. I'm thinking about, this time I'm not leaving without you.